Get up! Switch off the TV. You have been watching TV for 2 hours. Oof, I'm out of breath as I have been jogging for 2 hours. Hello, my YouTube family members. Hope you all are fine and doing well. It's me, Sahar, and I'm back to you guys again with another very interesting video based on one of the very important tenses, present perfect progressive tense, which is also known as present perfect continuous tense. So as you know, that the verb tense tells us about the time an action takes place. So this video is really important. How so? Because it is going to tell you a lot more about what is present perfect progressive tense, how this tense is formed, when to use this tense, and why to use this tense, so that you may be able to speak and write perfectly in English. Present perfect progressive tense is an advanced tense. And this tense is especially of great significance. It's very important because it tells us about an action that started in the past and is continued to the present. Started in the past and is continued to the present with an exception. What is the exception? The exception of the action's continuity in the future. Let us look at a few examples. Number 1. I have done my work. Have plus third form of verb. I have done my work. You remember my previous video that told you about present perfect tense. We had talked about the formation, that is auxiliary verb plus third form of verb. So we have done the work, that is present perfect tense. Now let's talk about present perfect continuous tense. We have been doing our work for 3 hours. So have been doing, verb plus present participle. If we analyze this sentence, forget about the time marker. What is the time marker? The word since and for. Okay, so the second part of the sentence, just skip it and analyze the first part. I have been doing the work. What do these sentences show you? The first one is in the present perfect tense and the second one is in the present perfect progressive tense. The first one tells you that the work is done, the work is completed, the work is finished, the work is not going on now. But the second sentence, which is in present perfect progressive, that tells you that the work started in the past, it continued for some time, it is still continuing now, and there is a chance of its being continued in the future. So this is the basic difference between present perfect tense and present perfect progressive tense. Let's look at another example. I have cooked dinner. I have been cooking dinner for 2 hours. There is not only a difference in the structure of these two sentences, but there is a difference in their meaning also. If you look at the first sentence, I have cooked dinner, it tells you that dinner is cooked. The action of cooking started in the past and it is finished. There is no more cooking ongoing now. The focus is now on the results. If we look at the second sentence, I have been cooking, doesn't it show you some sort of continuity? Have been cooking. It shows you that the process of cooking started in the past, it continued for some time, it is still continued now, and it is going to continue or it will continue in the future. So in the first example, which is the present perfect tense, the focus is on the results. Whereas in the second sentence, which is in present perfect continuous, perfect progressive, present perfect continuous. These are the two names of the same tense. I told you that if it is still in progression, it is continued. So hence the name. So the second sentence tells us that the process of cooking started in the past, it continued, and it is going to continue in the future. So the focus is not on the result, but the focus is on the activity of cooking. The focus is on the process. Fine? We can say that present perfect tense looks for a completed action, whereas the present perfect continuous tense looks for the duration, that is how long. Fine? So let's look at another example. I have chopped all the vegetables. I have been chopping all the vegetables. So again, the same thing. In the first one, it shows that all the vegetables have been chopped and the process of chopping is finished. But the second one, I have been chopping, it focuses on the process. That is, the process of chopping that is still continued. It isn't finished yet and it will be continued in the future. Let's look at the formation of affirmatives. We have subject plus auxiliary verb, that is has or have, depending upon the subject. If we have the plural subject, then we are going to use have, and if we have the singular subject like he, she, it, or name, which are the singular ones, or it, they serve as the singular subject. So in this case, what will be the helping verb? Has. So we have has or have depending upon the subject plus being plus verb base, that is the root form, plus present participle, that is attaching ing, which is the present participle, with the root verb. And there are the rules of attaching this form. Fine. There are the rules according to which we attach this ing present participle with the root form of the verb. And this formation will be discussed again in the later part of this video. We are going to move to that point also. Plus object plus time markers, that is since, for, and all, plus the time. For example, I have been living in California since 2011. Okay, now what are the time markers? As the very two basic words tell you, time markers, that is, to mark the time. So these are one or two words that tell you about the time an action takes place or an action took place. Right? What are the time markers? Since, for, all year, all day, all morning, all night, all week. Let's talk about since and for and all and when they are used. For is used for the duration of time. That is the length of the time. Length of the time. Whereas since is used to mention or to refer to the point of time. They have been studying for 15 days. 15 days is a duration. 15 days is a length. So that is why we are using for here. They have been studying. Why we have used have? Because they is a plural subject. With a plural subject, we use have. They have been studying. Study plus ing, studying. Again, I told you there are the rules for attaching ing with the verb form, base form. And I am going to discuss these rules in the later part of this video. So let's look at this structure or the sentence. They have been studying for 15 days. 15 days is a period of time. It shows you how long. It tells you about the duration of time. So we are going to use for here. Which time marker? For here. Since is used to refer to the starting point of the time. Since 2011. Since 1992. Since morning, that is the starting point. You got my point? Okay. All is basically used to encompass the units of time. I have been living in California since 2011. This tells you about the point of time. What was the point? Since 2011. Now let's look at another example. They have been living in California since 2011. Okay, I haven't been feeling very well all week. If you look at this first example, they have been living in California since 2011. If you look at the sentence here, the future is emphasized, giving us the meaning that they will continue to live in California in the future. Let's look at the other sentence. I haven't been feeling very well all week. This tells you that the speaker is still unwell and expects to remain sick for the rest of the week. We can use another example like it has been raining all day, you have been doing well all week, and so. Okay, how do we get this formation? This tense formation, that is have plus been plus ing. Let's look at this representation. The verb of present perfect tense is have plus past participle. For progressive tense, we use be plus ing. Past participle form of be is been. So when we put it all together, we get the present perfect progressive form of have plus been plus ing verb. Okay, now let's move to the uses of present perfect progressive tense. Number one, it is used for something that started in the past, still continues now in the present, and will continue in the future. For example, I have been working at this company for 8 years. Or you have been watching TV for 3 hours. So what does this tell you? This tells you that the action of working in this company started somewhere in the past, 8 years ago. It is still continuing now because you're still working in the company, and it will continue in the future. Not 100%, but there are the chances that if you have been working in this company for 8 years and still you at the present designation, then obviously there are the chances of your continuing this job in the future. Another important example, the temperatures have been soaring. Sea levels have been rising. Why I have used this example, temperatures have been soaring or sea levels have been rising, because if you are going to appear in any foreign academic test, English proficiency test like TOEFL and many others, so and you are asked to write a passage or an essay on global warming, and if you use this tense, it is going to be very beneficial for you, very helpful for you, because the examiner is going to analyze that, yes, because I told you that this is an advanced tense. So if you're using it, examiner will get an idea of your competence and your expertise while dealing with English tenses. The other use of this tense is to tell you that something it started in the past, it continued for some time, and it just finished now. Not long ago, just now. To show that it was continuing for long and it just ended now. Let's look at the example. I've been trying to contact you since morning. Let's look that one of your friends is trying to contact you. She's calling you again and again and she's unable to do so. She's unable to maintain a contact with you. So suddenly you look at your phone and you call her back. And she says, where have you been? I've been trying to contact you since morning. This shows you that your friend has been calling you since morning. The action of calling, it continued for some time in the past, and then it continued for the present time until you called her back, and it ended just immediately now, a few moments back. That is the most immediate time of the present, that it is just going to enter into the very recent past. We use present perfect progressive tense for an action that continued and finished recently and has visible results now. Or more simply, to use this tense to explain why things look the way that look now. For example, why are you sweating? I have been jogging for 20 minutes. What happened to your eyes? Nothing. I have been working on the laptop for 2 hours. So, to explain why things are the way they look like. Why your eyes are the way they look like, because you have been working on the laptop for 2 hours. What happened to your body? Why you were sweating? Because you have been jogging for 20 minutes. The action of your working on the laptop, it started in the past, it continued, and what are the visible results? Your eyes are telling that you have been working. Another important use of present perfect progressive tense is we use it while giving a reason for a statement. Let's look at the example. I've been wearing sunglasses lately because it's very bright outside. So what's the statement? It's very bright outside. That's why you are wearing sunglasses. So while giving a reason for the statement, we use this present perfect progressive tense. Another important use. Used to show something that started in the past and is continued now, and it will continue to happen in the future. We have already discussed this, but it will continue to happen regularly. How so? I've been teaching English for the last 10 years. And this shows that yes, there are the chances of this activity or this teaching English to be continue in the future. The next important use it is used with the words like lately and recently. For example, you have been eating a lot of pizza lately. Okay, now let's talk about the formation of negative. Subject plus auxiliary has or have plus not plus been plus verb base. The whole structure will be the same. Just we are going to add not because it is a negative sentence between auxiliary verb and be. Fine? Let's look at the structure again. Subject plus auxiliary has or have plus not plus been plus verb base form plus present participle ing plus time markers, that is since and for, plus time. She has not been working here for 2 years. She has not been working here for 2 years. Another important thing to talk about is the use of contractions. While undergoing any foreign academic test, we are not going to use contractions because they are mostly used in informal conversations. But because the concern here is to sound more like a native speaker, native English speaker, so I'll suggest you that while dealing with the negatives in case of present perfect progressive, contractions are of great significance because they enable you to sound more like a native English speaker. She has been, she has been, she hasn't been, she hasn't been. And you're not going to say been, she has been. She's been doing this work, she's been doing this work. This been, it becomes been, to sound more like a native speaker. She hasn't, we haven't, they haven't. Another very important thing to be discussed is the use of present perfect progressive tense with stative or dynamic verbs. You already know what are the stative and dynamic verbs. I had told you in my previous lecture that dynamic verbs are the action verbs. For example, eat, jump, exercise, laugh. And stative verbs, they describe some kind of state or condition. As their name suggests, stative, from state, or your condition of being, like feeling sad and love, to like someone. These are the stative verb. To think, right? They tell us about your condition or state of being. But dynamic verbs, they tell us about some physical action. These are just a few examples. There are a number of stative and dynamic verbs. You can Google them. The purpose of my discussing them here is to tell you that we will not use this tense with stative verb That is the words that tell you about the state or condition of being. We are not going to use present perfect continuous tense with these stative words. With this tense, we use dynamic verbs. We cannot say that I have been loving her for 2 years, because love is a stative verb. It tells us about a condition. So we cannot use the stative verb with present perfect progressive tense, fine? You can say that I have loved her for 2 years. We can use present perfect tense in this case. I cannot say that I have been liking this book all through my life. I have been liking this book. No, I have liked this book all through my life. We're going to use present perfect tense here. And this is the major difference in the usage also. The first difference was that present perfect tense, it tells us about an action that started in the past and is continued in the present. With the present perfect progressive tense, it tells us about an action that started in the past, is continued up till now, and it is going to continue in the future also. And the second important thing is that we use this present perfect tense with stative verb, but in case of present perfect progressive tense, we're not going to use stative verbs with this tense. We use usually the dynamic verbs, with the only exception in the use of want. Want is a stative verb. This is an exception, and exceptions are always there. And we use this want with present perfect progressive tense. Okay, let's talk about the formation of interrogative. And as I told you that in case of interrogative, the auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs, they come in the beginning of the sentence, and a question mark is added at the end of the sentence in place of full stop, right? So let's look at the formation. Auxiliary has or have plus subject plus been plus verb base plus present participle ing plus object plus time marker, that is since and for, plus time plus question mark. Have you been working in this factory since 2002? Another important thing to discuss is this, that we want to add WH words, the question words, in this type of tense. What you are going to do, you have to add those WH question words before the auxiliary verb. That is, how long have you been working in this factory? Where have you been working for 2 years? How long have you been working in this office? Okay, let's talk about contractions and the pronunciations of those contractions that are associated with this tense. I told you that she has been, she has been. Fine? The been is going to become been. She has become she is, and z sound comes. It's not she is, no, not a hissing sound. She is, z sound comes. She has been working here in this office for 2 years. Fine? She has been working in this office. And in case of negative, they haven't been working here. I haven't been working here. So where to put this apostrophe? From where you are going to take out the alphabet. She has not. N-O-T. We're going to omit the O to put the apostrophe there. She hasn't. She has not becomes she hasn't. And most of the time, while dealing with present perfect progressive tense, we use the contractions in the negative type sentences as compared to the affirmatives. I haven't been working here for 2 years. And the t sound at the end of haven't is very mandatory to be pronounced. Okay, this is a very important thing that I've been discussing right from the start of this lecture, that what are the spelling changes that occur while attaching this present participle ing with the root verb. What spelling changes are made? Let's look at this. For most of the verbs, the ing is simply added to the root. That is loaf plus ing loafing, fix plus ing fixing. Here, no spelling changes are made. But there are exceptions also. There are some certain rules. And all the words in English, they do not follow the same rule. Verbs ending in E, we drop the E and add ing. For example, fire, we drop this E at the end of the word and add ing, firing. Game, we just omit this E or cut this E at the end of game and add ing. These are the verbs or the words. Verbs or the words that end in E. So if we have to make their present participle form, what we are going to do, we are going to add ing after omitting or cancelling this E at the end of the word. Charge, charging. Verbs ending in IE. We have to change, what is the rule? We have to change this IE to Y. Tie, we have to omit this IE and add YING. We have to change this IE at the end into Y. So TY and then ING, which is the present participle, tying. Lie, replace this IE at the end of the word lie and add ing with this Y, lying. Okay, verbs ending in CVC. What is CVC? Consonant, vowel, consonant. You know what are the consonants and what are the vowels? In phonetics and phonology, we talk about consonants and vowels. And what are consonants and what are the vowels? Vowels, you know, they are pronounced with open mouth. A, A, E, E. My lips are not touching. My tongue is not touching the upper alveolar palate, and my lips are not touching each other. They are basically pronounced with open mouth. A, E, I, O, U, U. These are the basic 5 alphabetical letters which are called vowels, but we have the vowel sounds also when it comes to phonetics and phonology, and there are a number of vowels and consonant sounds. You cannot say that English is only restricted to 5 vowels. No, we have bat, at, mat, at, mat, b, at, bat. So this a sound, it is a combination of a and e, bad. So it becomes a diphthong where the vowel sound glides from one vowel to another vowel. Okay. So vowels are basically pronounced with open mouth, and then we have long vowel sounds, we have short vowel sounds like school, food, right? Put, and a number of vowel sounds. We cannot restrict English to only 5 vowels. And consonants are those that are pronounced with closed mouth, like b, p, ch, j. So we have a number of consonants too. That is another point. Consonant, vowel, consonant. And you have to start from the end of the word. That is, you have to start analyzing the word backwards. CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant. You have to analyze it from the reverse direction of the word. Let's look at it. In case of the word in which you have CVC at the end, let's look at plan. PLAN. Analyze it from the end. N, it is a consonant. Sound. A, vowel. And L sound, which is again a consonant, right? So this shows you CVC. In case of CVC, you have to double the last letter and add ing. For example, if it's plan, the last alphabet is again consonant. So we have to double this. Double N plus present participle ing. Planning. Okay, now, how to use this tense while answering in a polite way. Okay, if your mother asks you, have you been playing all day? So you're not going to say yes, or you're not going to say no. It will sound a bit rude. How you have to answer it? You have to answer it in accordance with present perfect continuous tense. How you will answer that? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. And as I have mentioned earlier, that in case of positive answers, you are not going to work with the contractions. Whereas while dealing with the negative sentences of present perfect progressive tense, you can use contractions. So you will say that yes, I have. You cannot say yes, I have. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Here you can work with a contraction. And as I mentioned it in one of my short videos, that if the question starts with has or have, the answer is with has or have. Have you been playing? Yes, I have. Let's look at the difference between present perfect tense and present perfect progressive tense. This is something that I have already discussed all through my video, so we are going to just have a bird's eye view of this important thing, because this is a point we cannot neglect or we cannot avoid. These tenses are almost similar. They are confused by the people, but they have their differences. Let's discuss them. Present perfect tense, it focuses on an action that started in the past and continues to the present. And present perfect progressive does the same, with the only difference on the emphasis that lies on the future. Second important thing, when we use present perfect tense, we are not sure whether the action will stop now or it will continue in the future. And this is something that is not really important when we talk about present perfect tense. The futurity is something which is not very emphasized or not much emphasized in present perfect tense. But when we talk about present perfect progressive tense, the emphasis is on the future. Remember the example that I gave you in the beginning of my lesson, that I have been cooking for 2 hours or I have cooked. Just remember that example in this case. So let's look at another example. In case of present perfect tense, I have worked on this project for 6 months. Here the emphasis is on the past 6 months. I have worked on this project for 6 months. So we don't know whether the project is completed or they are going to continue that project in the future. But if we are going to look at the present perfect progressive form of this sentence, I have been working on this project for 6 months. We know for certain that the action will continue in the future. It's clear that they haven't completed the project, and definitely they will continue working on it in the future. Same time markers are used for both, that is since and for. In case of present perfect tense, you can watch my video that is based on present perfect tense and get an idea of what to use or when to use since or for in connection with present perfect tense. They have lived in California since 2001. The focus is on 2001 till now. There is no focus on future. They have lived in California since 2001. The focus is on the past. There's no focus on future. They may be still living here or they may move to another place in a couple of the next few days. So futurity is something that is not important when it comes to present perfect tense. When we talk about present perfect progressive tense, they have been living in California since 2001. They have been living in California. This shows you a sense of continuity, a prolonged continuity, which gives you an almost assurity that they will continue living in California for the rest of their life. Future is emphasized with a meaning being conveyed that they will continue living in California. Present perfect tense is used to refer to or to talk about how much or how many. How much or how many. He has eaten 8 chicken pieces this morning. You cannot say he has been eating 8 pieces of chicken since morning. That sounds weird. So we use present perfect tense while we are talking about how much or how many, whereas this is not the case in case of present perfect progressive tense. Okay, as being an ESL learner or as being a non-native speaker of English language, definitely the mistakes are inevitable. So how you're going to deal with the mistakes? Let's talk about what are the common mistakes while dealing with present perfect progressive tense and how to overcome them. What are the corrections? Let's look at them. The first one is the use of wrong word. For example, I have been watching movie since 2 hours. I told you that since refers to the point of time and 2 hours is a duration. While talking about the length of the time or the duration of the time, we have to use for. If the speaker had said that I have been watching movie since morning, that would have been correct, right? I've been watching movie since 2 hours. Since refers to the point of time and 2 hours is a duration. So how we are going to work with the correction? We have to use for here. The second mistake is the use of wrong tense. I am working here since 2001. Now, since is a time marker, I told you. So when since is coming, it is definite that you have to use present perfect progressive tense. But here you have used I am working, which is simple continuous. So this formation is wrong. If since or for is coming, you have to look whether to use present perfect or to use present perfect progressive tense. Right? The third thing is the use of wrong verb. I have been feeling sad for her. I have been liking her. These sentences, they tell you that feeling, liking, thinking, these are the stative verbs. They tell us about a state or a condition. There is a rule. You cannot use present perfect continuous tense or present perfect progressive tense with stative verbs. So, I have felt sad for her. I have been working here since 2001. I have been living here for 2 years. Let's move to the activity. Time for your activity. Here are the few sentences and I have written them in simple present tense. You have to use the correct time markers and you have to transform them or to change them into present perfect progressive tense. Your time starts now. Take your time. You can pause the screen and just get prepared for the answers. Correct answers. I need correct answers. They run, and in bracket I have given you hour. They have been running for an hour because hour shows you a duration, and for this you're going to use the time marker for, because for is used for the duration of time and for the period of time. They have been running for an hour. He plays morning. He has been, has because has is used with a singular person subject and he's a singular person subject, so you are going to use has. He has been playing since morning because morning tells you the point of time. It rains night. It is again a singular subject and we are going to use has. It has been raining, rain plus ing. It has been raining all night. You work 8 o'clock. You have been working since 8 o'clock because 8 o'clock tells you about the exact point of time. We pay last year. We is again a plural subject and we use have plus been plus verb pay plus ing. We have been paying him the rent since last year. Last year, last night, it tells you about the point of time. She manages 2001. 2001 is again a point of time. It is telling you at what time the action started. She has been managing the office since 2001. She washes morning. She has been washing the clothes since morning. They swim 2 hours. They have been swimming for 2 hours. Okay, now look, swim. Analyze this word. Swim. M is a consonant, I is a vowel, and W is again a consonant. So isn't it CVC, consonant vowel consonant construction? So what was the rule? That in case of CVC, double the last letter and add ing. So it will become swimming. Now you got the point. This is the practical implementation of that rule that I mentioned earlier. So they have been swimming for 2 hours. Okay. Play an activity with me while sitting at your home. I have a few questions for you guys and you have to answer them. Which use of present perfect tense and present perfect progressive tense is the same with an exception? I repeat, which use of present perfect tense and present perfect progressive tense is the same? Give an example. They both show that an activity started in the past and is continued at present. This is the same use, but what is the exception? That in case of present perfect continuous tense, there are the chances of that continuing in the future time. I've been working as an associated relationship manager in this branch for a couple of years. Here I have used present perfect progressive tense, and further there are the chances that as I have been working in this branch for a couple of years, so there are the chances that I may maintain my designation in the future while working with this team. Second is, I have worked in this branch. That shows that you are not more an associated relationship manager. Present perfect progressive tense must not be used with what type of verbs? Give examples of both cases, fine? So now it's the time for your homework. We have done 2 activities together. What is the homework? Look at the picture and say or write at least 2 to 3 sentences based on present perfect progressive tense using contractions. You have a picture on your screen. Look at this picture and say or write at least 2 to 3 sentences based on present perfect progressive tense while using contractions also. That means you have to make affirmatives also, negative also, and interrogative also. So hope that was fine listening to my lesson today. And I really work a lot harder to make you guys learn English well so that you may be able to speak and learn English in a perfect way. So hope you guys are liking my videos, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe it with your friends, and don't forget to please give me a thumbs up if you are really appreciating my work. That will be a great source of motivation for me. Stay tuned, stay subscribed, and stay blessed. Thank you.